Jewish people like to eat Chinese food, right? That's their contribution. When I came to America, I learned to be Jewish means to love Chinese food. That's a part of being Jewish. And they gave us this. I never saw a Chinese guy who's looking for a kosher restaurant. He wants to eat gefilte fish or something like this. What we gave to the world, to the Chinese world, to the world in general. What is our contribution? This week we're going to read about the Ten Commandments. First of all, what are the Ten Commandments? Anybody can mention some of them?
Belief in God.
Believe in God.
Idol worship.
2.
Misuse of God's name.
Don't use God's name in vain.
Okay. Sabbath.
Not murder.
Parents.
Honor your parents.
Don't cover your neighbor.
Murder.
Adultery.
Adultery. Theft.
Swearing falsely.
I think that's the number. Oh yeah. Not bearing false witness.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the last one.
Create images.
Don't covet in everything of your friend. Ten Commandments. Is the Ten Commandments for Jews or for the rest of the world also?
Yeah.
Is it for Jews only or for everybody? What do you think?
There's an overlap for the world of some.
You say for everyone. What do you say?
Some overlap, some don't.
Some overlap. The question is if the Ten Commandments as this unit is for everybody.
Well, certainly the Noahide laws were for the entire world.
Yeah, but this is not the Ten Commandments.
No, I understand.
The question is the Ten
Everybody heard it,
Commandments.
right?
The Ten Commandments for everybody or not?
Just for the Jews.
Just for the Jews. What do you say?
Everyone.
Everyone. Okay, then you say just for the Jews. You say for everyone. Everyone, yeah. The question is we have only, most of them are?
The last 5 were for.
The last 5. What's the first 5? We give him 1 tablet. That's for you guys.
Sabbath is not for the Gentiles.
The only problem we have is the Shabbos. I mean, believing in God, they have to believe. Not to worship idols. Every one of the commandments they are obligated to. Of all the other 9. Shabbat. Shabbat is a sign between God and the Jewish people. But the Ten Commandments are written in the Torah twice. Once in the book of Exodus and once in the book of Deuteronomy. When you compare in the book of Exodus when God said it to the Jewish people, and in Deuteronomy when Moses repeats it again before he died, the last 5 weeks Moses gave one long speech of the whole book of Deuteronomy, and he repeated quite a few stories that happened, and among them he said the Ten Commandments. When you compare the 2 texts, you see changes. The main change is in the commandment of Shabbat. In the first one it's written
To remember.
To remember the Shabbat. Zachor et Yom HaShabbat lekadsho. Remember the day of Shabbos to sanctify. And the second set,
Guard.
it's written
Regard.
Shamor. Observe, safeguard. Like Shomer Shabbos, observe. That first of all the question is what God said. He said Zachor or Shamor. Remember or safeguard. Then anybody who comes Friday night services knows that we sing Lecha Dodi. That, by the way, it's a little commercial for the Friday night service. then we say there, the first Lecha Dodi, we say Shamor veZachor bedibur echad. Shamor veZachor, God said in one utterance. God said the whole Ten Commandments in 1 second. It didn't take 50 minutes. Hey, by the way, you should do this. It wasn't a sermon. It was, everybody got it. It was like an email. You get it in one shot. He said both of them. What is Zachor and what is Shamor? How you observe remembering the Shabbos and how you observe safeguarding the Shabbos? What do you think?
Just the opposite of what you think, right? Zachor means you
Zachor means to remember means?
By practice.
Remembering by action. You do, what the mitzvahs that you do, how you remember the Shabbos? By making Kiddush, by having a Shabbat meal, by dressing up for Shabbat, by lighting candles, by going to synagogue. That's how you remember the Shabbat. Shamor, safeguard the Shabbos. How you safeguard the Shabbos?
The boundaries not
by
to.
what not to do. But this is not the only difference between the 2 sets of the Ten Commandments. Later, the reason why you have to observe Shabbat, there is also a change. And in the book of Exodus it's written, why you have to observe Shabbat? Because God created the world in 6 days and rested on the 7th day. That we all know. In the second time, God says, you have to observe the Shabbat because I took you out from Egypt. And because of this, in the Kiddush of Friday night, if you remember, you say in the second blessing, you say Zikaron leMaaseh Bereshit, to remember the creation of the world. Then you say Tchila leMikra'ei Kodesh, Zecher leYitziat Mitzrayim, remembering the Exodus from Egypt. Both of them. Say this, I say this. Comes Rabbi Yudan from the Psikte, Talmudic rabbis, and he says, Zachor for the rest of the world, Shamor for the Jews. They also have an obligation in Shabbat. They have to remember Shabbat. What does this mean? They have also to remember that God created the world in 6 days and rested on the 7th day. Shamor, to safeguard the Shabbos, that's for the Jews. That's a special obligation for us. Therefore, Zachor, in the first time it's written for everybody. What's the reason that God gives? Because I created the world. That's something that belongs to everybody. The second time that he speaks to the Jews, he tells them, you have to safeguard the Shabbat because I took you out from Egypt. God didn't take out other nations from Egypt. He took out the Jews from Egypt. Therefore, we see in the world something amazing. I mentioned that many times. A month. Why there is a month? Because the moon is a full cycle. It's a month. 29.5 days is a month. 28 days of February is a made-up story. And 31 days is another made-up story. A month is 29.5 days. Therefore, a month should be or 29 days or 30 days. A year is a cycle of the sun. There is 365 days. Makes sense. A day is again a night and a day. It's a full day. It's 24 hours. What's a week? You see anything in nature, you go out, you see a week change. Another week passed. Nothing in nature reflects the concept of 7 days. No cycle of 7 days, no nothing. In ancient China, they tried to make a week of 10 days. Every time, makes sense. 9 days, 10. They have vacation. Easier to count, easier and everything. In ancient Egypt, they tried to make, in ancient Egypt, they tried to make a week of 10 days. Napoleon tried to make it 10 days. Not only Napoleon tried, even in communist Russia, at one point they tried to do it, change it. It didn't work. Everybody in the world is having a week of 7 days. Isn't this, and only why? The only place you find the concept of 7 is right here in the book. It's not in nature, it's not in anything. It's pure from the Bible. What does this mean? It means that every person, no matter who he is, every human being is really recognizing that God created the world. The biggest atheist, the moment he celebrates the weekend and he goes out for a vacation, he recognizes Shabbat, if he likes it or not. That God, why 7 days? Why not 5 days? Why not 9 days? Because the only reason why there is a 7-day week, because God created the world in 6 days and rest on the 7th day. Therefore, any other religions, they have a Shabbat. The whole world really recognizes it. Even people who don't believe in any religion. Now, the interesting part is, it goes even further. You look in a calendar. Every line, the first one in the line is which day? Sunday. The last day in the line? Saturday. Shouldn't be Monday to Sunday, Saturday to Friday. Any other religion? Should be something else, right? Everybody recognizes that the last day on this line is Shabbos. It's so easy for the Jews, it's unbelievable. This is. If it would be, we'd have to fight with the calendar, that the Friday, that the $6 is the Shabbos or the Jews. The whole world recognizes that Shabbat, that God created the world in 6 days and rested on Shabbos. that this belongs not only to the Jews, but also to the non-Jewish world. There is more to it. We see where is the Ten Commandments, and which parsha is it? What's the name of the parsha? YITRO. The name of the parsha of the Ten Commandments should be YITRO. I have a better question. Why the whole story of YITRO could be written later? There is a whole argument if it's a chronological order or not. But even if it was a chronological order, we read the story of Exodus. The whole story goes beautifully. Then in the middle, like it's almost like a parenthesis. Oh, by the way, Jethro showed up. Well, Jethro is here. We are talking about the whole story. The 10th plague, and then it's the splitting of the sea, and we are coming to Mount Sinai. Jethro, put in the bag the story with Jethro. Nice, after Mount Sinai. Why are you ruining the story? Why God ruins the story with Jethro? Because Jethro is a part of the story. Jethro, who worshipped every idol, who checked every other religion, every other culture, came to receive the Torah because we want to make a point that this Ten Commandment is really belongs to everyone. Not in a way that they have to observe Shabbat like Jews, but the concept belongs to everyone. That adds to another thing. How the Ten Commandments start? What's the first word in Hebrew of the Ten Commandments?
Anochi.
Anochi. How you say in Hebrew, I am? I. Ani. Then Rashi, the commentaries, the Talmud is asking, why Anochi? Ani Hashem Elokecha. There is 1,000 places the Torah writes, Ani Hashem Elokecha Emet, Ani Hashem, everywhere. Why by the Ten Commandments, God is using a word Anochi? The Talmud says, Anochi Lashon Mitzrit. It's a word in Egypt, in Egyptian. Anochi it's not Hebrew, it's Egyptian. Why is God choosing to begin the Ten Commandments with an Egyptian word? It's not because the Jews didn't understand Hebrew. We would translate for them. It's because in somehow to hint that the Torah, there is a message here for everyone, not just for Jews. God gave the Ten Commandments in 2 tablets, right? Why didn't give it in one big piece of stone? I finished all 10.
Too heavy.
Too heavy. The 2 were heavy too.
You could write a little smaller.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, some explanations. One represents the mitzvahs of
the Ten Commandments have 2 sets. In one, the problem is like this. How many letters we have in the Ten Commandments? The whole thing.
611.
620 letters. But when you look on the writing, 500 letters on one tablet, and 120 or so on the other tablet. That it's not even, if you would have a computer, you would do it much, straighten this out. Most of the writing is on one tablet, the other one is kind of empty. Don't steal, not much to say, don't steal, that's it, don't kill. Simple, no explanation needed. Then it's not really balanced. Then there is differences between the first 5 and the second 5. One difference is because the first 5 are what?
Mitzvahs of God and man.
Mitzvahs between man and God. Believe in God, do not worship idols, and so on. The other set is with man and man. Now, what is commandment number 5?
Honor your father and mother.
Honor your father and mother. What is this doing on the first tablet?
Honor your father.
God's a partner in the birth.
So God is a partner. But God means honor your father and mother. It doesn't mean him. Honor your father and your mother. Then why God put it in the piece, in the set, that between man and God and not between man and man? What do you think?
It's the connection between the two, because God is metaphorically a parent, and honor of God
But
is
more
Creation.
the connection.
in the marriage, God is part of the union.
That's what he said. But when he said honor your father, it doesn't mean you should honor him. It means you should honor father and mother. Even the Talmud says, people would say, oh, God is seeking for his own honor. The answer is, one of the answers, everyone is a good answer. The answer is that we see in life that kids who rebel against the parents, rebel against the religion. That means the parents are the conduit of your connection to God. Then that's a part of the of the bigger picture. It's not only between you and your parents, it's between me and God. God says, if you don't honor your parents, you lose you're being lost to the religion. Then it's a part of the bigger picture. That's one difference between men and God, that's in men and men. Any other difference? Between the first 5 and the second 5? If you move a little further, I will not be insulted. I'm serious.
No.
I don't want to make it to hurt anybody. I know how it feels.
There's a connection between 1 and 5, 2 and 6, 3 and 7.
No. What's the difference? If you can give 2 categories, to the one category to the mitzvahs, to the first set, to the first 5, and another category to the other 5. You said between men and God and between men and men. Anything else?
No, some are positive and some are negative.
Oh,
But I don't know if it's split that way.
in general, this is positive commandment, this is negative commandment. Even though that in the first one there is also some negative commandment, but in general, there is another difference that I invented. I can take it or leave it, I don't care. If you would have to give the 2 tablets, one to men and one to women, what do you give? What would you give? To whom?
One to men and one to women.
Spiritual to the
Probably
First one to the
first
women.
one to the women, then second one.
Believe in God, do not worship idols, observe the Shabbos, honor your parents. Who is honoring your parents more? The girls or the boys? I just comforted a guy who has 3 girls. I told him, one thing I can tell you, they'll take care of you. The boys are never to be found. They show up once a year and the mother dances around them like Moshiach came. Who takes care of the parents? The girls. The first 5 are perfectly to women. The second 5, who have to tell, don't steal, don't kill, don't commit adultery, all of the above. Don't covet, to men. And there is something interesting. The first 5, God spoke first to the women, so to speak, and then to the men. Based on what he said at before Mount Sinai, he turned to Moses and told them, go ask the Jews if they want to receive the Torah. He told them, speak to the women first and then to the men. He said, if the women say yay, it's a deal. If they want it, you can go with it. He told them to speak to the women first.
They make the mistake like Adam and Eve.
Yeah. A person has 2 hands. That's why God made 2 tablets. Every hand is 5 fingers. Represents 5 commandments. When 2 people meet each other, what is the gesture that they do? They shake hands. Today, they hug and kiss and hit on their shoulders until the whole shul hears. How I know a new person walks into shul, I hear the claps, hitting on the shoulders, I know there is a new star in the show. A new guy on the field. Then you shake hand. You bring 5 commandments, he brings 2 tablets. Together, we are one unit. A person has one tablet is the right hand, the second tablet is the left hand. The positive commandment is you do with your right hand. What means you do with your right hand? The stronger hand. You do it with excitement. The negative mitzvahs, what not to do, you already, to hurt somebody, to scream at somebody, this you are not so excited about. But a human being, we mentioned that this is between men and God and mitzvahs men and men. Some Jews say, I am very good on mitzvahs between men and men. I don't kill, I don't steal, I'm honest, I'm fair, I'm everything. I help others. Mitzvahs and men and God, not my thing. Others say, oh, mitzvahs men and God, I go to shul every day, I'm davening all day. Man to man, yeah, I cut a few corners here and there. A healthy human being has 2 hands. You need to have this tablet and this tablet. Together, and that's what men and women. When it's a unit, there is a whole fight. Women want to do mitzvahs of men. Together, it's 10 commandments. Together is the 2 tablets. When she's doing her mitzvahs, and I do my mitzvahs, and she lights the candles, and I put on tefillin, it's a unit. If both of us light candles, both of us do it, it's repeating itself. Together, we are 2 tablets. That's what a complete human being is with 2 hands. A complete person is a complete marriage is in both of them not doing the same thing, but everyone is complementing the other. He's doing things that she doesn't like to do. He does doing things that everyone's complementing the other.
You make the same argument as far as Jewish society goes. You've got some people who are very much into social action. Some people
This
are
is
very much
true,
into worship.
as long as they have a little bit of the other one too. This is true. There is in the Talmud more Torah and more Uvdin Tovim. People who are the main job is learning Torah, and people that are the main job is to do mitzvahs, to help others. Therefore, there is Issachar and Zvulun, but that's a whole other story. But you're absolutely right. That's the whole idea of the Ten Commandments.